Some people were hurting some other people because they wanted to see them hurt, and now they were killing them. That was all. That was the problem. I don't particularly like violence, but I'm good at it. I can confront evil, and I live outside the law. Nice folks don't generally talk to me, but one day they asked me to do them a favor, and I obliged. I loaded a gun, got into my car, and drove down the long straight road to where there was a turnoff. I turned off and went as far as I could till the dirt road ended. The trees were close together here and formed a canopy. Within the woods it was murky, like mist. There were shafts of light. It was called the Singing Woods. It was not too long ago that it was filled with singing. For now it was silent, without people, without sound of any kind. I walked through the woods. Occasionally I would see some marks on a tree where the bark had been rubbed off. I saw a small tree trying to grow. Several leaves had droplets of dried blood on them. The victims were forcibly taken from the town nearby and driven to this area in a truck. Their clothes were ripped off their bodies. A rope was passed under their arms. Then they were hauled up into a tree where they dangled from a high branch. Very soon their arms began to ache. They started to moan. Then screams from deep inside, long and drawn out, wailing. One young woman kept silent for a long time until she suddenly let out a horrendous scream. She could no longer hold her body by holding on to the ropes. She let go and dropped. Both arms were pulled from their sockets with a loud snap. Blood oozed out of one ear, and her heart burst. She had been a young mother. Whenever someone went silent, their legs were pulled to increase the pressure on their joints. They screamed anew, and the men with the black hair and the black beards and the black beady eyes said it was their God who was making them sing. No one visits the Singing Woods now. It is painful to just be here. But I was here for a reason. I could almost see my father hanging from a tree. Back in town, it started to rain. I ducked under an awning, but could still see him through the window across the street. I watched him for a second, but only a second, then walked quickly across the street and went into the restaurant. No one looked when I came in except him. I waved and walked over to him. He asked if we knew each other. I said, "Why did you do it? Why did you make the Singing Woods?" His expression changed instantly to spiritual gluttony, and he answered. He wanted to break the families. He wanted to see the pain in those left behind. I took out my gun and pointed it at his face. I pulled the trigger. His left eye disappeared and the back of his head came off. What was left toppled into the soup. The people in the restaurant looked on calmly as though they'd been expecting this. One of them started to applaud. As I walked away, I thought, "Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord." He's quite emphatic about that. Nobody else can mete out vengeance. It's too volatile. I got in my car and drove back to the entrance of the Singing Woods. I got out and stood quietly. I wanted to see it one more time. The rain had stopped. The sun shone through the clouds, and the woods were rich and green. For the first time in a long time, a bird began to sing.